Because in Nigeria, when I went to Nigeria, I was told that Ghana had borrowed something from Nigeria. And I said, what is it?
Did a comprehensive proposal of about 34 recommendations. I'm sure the Department of Political Science have a copy, and several institutions have copies.
When we have Ghana card, solid technology behind that.
Wonderful viewers, welcome to yet another exciting edition of Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 Television. This is the show where we put Ghana first in all of our conversations, and I want to start off with an apology to you, our cherished viewers, for not being able to bring you the Wednesday edition of the show. Technical challenges and the running around made it a bit difficult. We promise not to miss a single episode of the show going forward when it's within our might. I am Eric Mawinagbet, and in today's edition of the show, the former chair of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, has been speaking for the very first time in quite a while at a public lecture organized by the University of Ghana Political Science Department as part of their 75th anniversary of the institution. And he, amongst many things, says that the Electoral Commission should stop being lazy in its decision to collate electoral results from the 16 regions across the country instead of the 275 constituencies. We'll take you to that roundtable discussion on the use of technology to enhance electoral management systems in the country and bring you excerpts as to exactly what transpired. And then later on today, Vice President Dr. Bawumia is expected to file his nominations as part of the processes for him wanting to become the next flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party. We'll take you inside the auditorium of the conference and hear from one of the other contenders, Alan Chamantin, who's demanding a free, fair, transparent NPP primary. Stay with us. When we return, we delve into the conversations. Right then, you're welcome back to Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 Television. This is the show where we put Ghana first in all of our conversations. And we're delving straight into the matters because there's been a lot of controversy and a lot of talk in relation to election management and the introduction of technology in the process of administering an elections here in Ghana. Well, yesterday, the University of Ghana's Great Hall, the Political Science Department, put together a roundtable discussion which saw the presence of former chair of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, reps from the NDC, Dr. Kwesi Jonah, and an IT expert to deliberate on the conversations and how we can, going forward, introduce, amongst many things, technology to deal with many inadequacies and inefficiencies of human nature while improving the entire electoral process. Well, amongst the many individuals who spoke was the Director of Elections at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Siribo Kweku. And yes, the topic of the new CI to be introduced was one that came up. The conversation about the Ghana card being the only sole identifier for any person wanting to get onto the electoral roll going forward. Well, the Electoral Commission says that they have used technology to deal with a number of issues, from biometric capture, facial recognition, and the likes. Now the challenge of age cheating and foreigners getting onto our electoral roll, they need to deal with it. And how do they do this? The Ghana card is the only way, despite the position of Parliament that introduce a new CI which also has the guarantor system. Dr. Siribo Kweku at that event said that we can't do it any other way but through the Ghana card. Here's what he said.
For presidential, you need to have absolute majority, 50% plus before you can do it. If you don't get 50% plus, then we go for the round of within 21 days. So this is how our system goes. But the challenge now is we are satisfied that we have addressed the impersonation to a large extent. We have addressed the multiple registration, multiple voting to a large extent. But how do we address the regulation of minors and the regulation of foreigners? I believe the politicians will never pass. Because most of it are not, they are those who will swing that button and they will end up accusing the Commission of having registers, have mandates. So people know it's about man. But let us committee think that one way of addressing it is to use the Ghana card. And there have been a lot of arguments. We are still battling it out. And we are still insistent that let us use the Ghana card so that we address the issue of minors. Because their date of birth is on the card. And the citizenship is also on the card. So that is also the way we reduce drastically the situation of minors and foreigners. So in brief, this is what I want to say from the letter from this point of view.
So that's Dr. Serebo Kweku. His assertion was backed by the governing New Patriotic Party. Dr. Peter McMenu, not Dr. Peter McMenu, I beg your pardon, not a doctor just as yet. He is a 2020 and 2016 campaign manager of the New Patriotic Party and the President of the Republic, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And he as well spoke and said that Parliament should not be restricting the EC in its quest to use technology. In this case, the Ghana card as a sole identifier. He as well spoke at that conference.
Representatives in Parliament trying to truncate anything that the Electoral Commission may bring. They must have the two tests, and the Supreme Court has decided and ruled on that already. So we have voter registration, which is unique, which we have attested to be technology based, but the issue of who qualifies to be on the register is still a matter that needs to be settled. I firmly believe that the use of other means, like the guarantee system, is fraught with violence at the polling station. And we should not encourage that in this modern technological era when we have Ghana card, solid technology behind that, to eliminate age cheating on elections and registration, and foreigners registering on our register. I think the use of the Ghana card, however difficult it is, we must encourage it and allow Ghanaians a sense of.
Peter McMenu there, and the conversations did continue because once the governing New Patriotic Party and the Electoral Commission are in sync, you should expect opposition from the NDC, and that is what they did, and they opposed quite strongly what they say is a seeming degeneration of the Electoral Commission and the perception of bias by the EC and the Electoral Management Body. Dr. Peter Bawumia Otokuno, he is the former Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, and he also spoke there.
And the post-election process. Let me make the point and emphasize that after 2020, the NDC sat down, looked at the election process comprehensively, and we felt that there was a need for us to have some kind of change in the processes. We did a comprehensive proposal of about 34 recommendations. I'm sure the Department of Political Science have a copy, and several institutions have copies, because we did several stakeholder engagements. We are yet to hear from the Electoral Commission when we submitted our copy to them and requested that we had an engagement on it. It has failed. We have made a case about our boycott from IPAC. Most people don't know the reason why we boycotted IPAC. The reason why the NDC does not participate in IPAC right now is because the fundamental role that IPAC had played since 1992 until the current Electoral Commission took over the reins of the Electoral Commission has completely changed. Now the IPAC has become a platform where the Electoral Commission come and give political parties information. And we have made the case that if it is only a platform to come and communicate decisions, then perhaps let's sit in our offices so that when you make the decisions, you write to us. We can read and write. We understand English. And for that matter, when you write to us, we would understand. And that is why we have boycotted IPAC. We still believe that there is a need for consensus in our decision making when it comes to electoral management. We have engaged several stakeholders across the country, and the stakeholders have created a platform so that we can have some amicable agreement with the Electoral Commission.
With all that said and all that done, the former chair of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, made some comment in relation to the adoption of new technology and new ways of doing things. And he questioned the decision by the Electoral Commission to resort to regional collation, I beg your pardon, rather than the constituency collation of presidential election. He says that the copying of the system from Nigeria was wrong. We need to go back to the constituency collation, and that the decision by the EC was one that was born out of laziness, and that it has the potential to breed perceptions of bias. He spoke to journalists after the event.
Right. So, I mean, in that narrative, you made the argument that the movement is suggesting and seeming to be one of laziness by the Electoral Commission. If you could just expatiate on that point again for me.
No, okay, I was saying that I was happy that Mr. McManu was thinking about directly sending election result from the polling station to the central point, i.e. the Elections Commission. Okay. And it is good, because in Nigeria, when I went to Nigeria, I was told that Ghana had borrowed something from Nigeria. And I said, what is it? And they said, well, it has to do with collation, establishing additional collation points. And instantly I said, if this is what we have borrowed, it is retrogressive borrowing. It's not something that takes us forward, it's something that takes us backwards. And I was explaining that even Nigeria itself, with the huge number of polling stations, in the last election, started trying to send election results directly to the Electoral Commission or to a central point where even ordinary voters could view what election results were coming from the. It's like what we tried to do in the olden days, set up what we called the results boards, huge boards, putting on the results that were coming from various places for the people to see. Not only the results about where they voted, but results that were coming from all over the country. It builds confidence in the process. So I think that borrowing that we did from Nigeria, setting up additional collation points. So my suggestion is that at minimum, we should send the results directly from the 275 constituencies to the Electoral Commission. Because you see, after all, the returning officer at the constituency level is collecting how many, he's collecting from maybe 150 places and so on. So that's why I said, okay, maybe the Electoral Commission is being lazy by not collecting from at least 275 points, result sheets, but from only 16 result sheets. So, and that is what, and I mean that seriously. I'm suggesting that at the next opportunity, we should reverse it. And if we cannot send the result directly from the polling station to the Electoral Commission, at least from the 275 constituency level.
Dr. Kojafari Jan there is the former chair of the Electoral Commission. And so let us know what you think in the comment section, these conversations and the different positions as we've been bringing to you. We're going for a break. When we return, we'll get into details of the Vice President filing his nominations later today and hear from Alan Kojo-Chamantin, who believes that the elections should be free and fair. Stay with us. This is Let's Talk Ghana, where we put Ghana first in all of our conversations. Right, you're welcome back to Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 Television. And this is the show where we put Ghana first in all of our conversations. It airs every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays here on Studios 2 TV, on YouTube, as well as on Facebook. The Vice President of the land is today filing his nominations after it was picked for him by some leading stalwarts of the NPP, including former youth organizer Sami Uku. He will be expected in the party headquarters today and to file, and the expectation will be that there will be some pomp and pageantry associated with it, unless if the picking of the nominations is anything to go by. And so the NPP gradually, they've set June 24th as a closing date for the filing, and so between now and then, the expectation is that all these individuals will be filing. One of the many faces who's been backing the ticket of the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, is Frank Anodompre, who's in Sawama Duejiri MP. And he spoke yesterday to media houses, TV3 exclusively, where he, amongst many other things, said very quite interesting things, that it is a done deal. They can feel the victory for DMB, that's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's, has been shortened or crystallized, and that they will win come what may through hell or high water, and it's already a firm because the special delegate conference, which is in the offing, will be easy, pretty straightforward for them. We will move away from that and hear from one individual who was the first to file. That's Alan Kojo-Chamantin, was the former Trades and Industry Minister. And when he filed, he made a request to the Elections Committee of the party to ensure a free, transparent process. Here's what he told the Elections Committee.
Express my profound gratitude to you and by extension to your colleagues, national officers of our party, for giving me this opportunity to submit my form to contest for the leadership of our party. The only guarantee for us to be able to win and ascend to power to succeed ourselves in 2024 will be for us to have free, fair and transparent elections. So, whilst commending you for the work that you've done so far in the processes leading to the filing of nominations, I would encourage you and hope that you will do all in your power and authority to ensure that you guarantee free, fair and transparent elections for our party. We thank you.
Thank you.
Right then, Alan Kojo-Chamantin there, and that's how we'll end today's edition of Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 Television. Of course, let us know all the details. React to us, react to the videos that we continue to bring to you, leave comments for us, we'll do the reading and make the show better for you. I am Eric Mawena-Egbeta. We return on Monday with a lot more exciting content as to what is happening here in the country. Many thanks for watching.
Studios 2 TV. The truth is here in your eyes.